Listen, all you New Yorkers. Taxi!
Okay, man, we're looking around.
This is the 77 WABC minicast.
We have General Holt with us, and he's one good guy, one smart guy, and he's always got his ears to the ground, and he knows what's going on. General Holt, what are we going to tell our listeners today?
Well, what we need to tell them is that we're doing very well in the Middle East. Time is on our side. There's a revolution in the offing, and you've got a desperate three-headed monster now called what used to be the regime of Iran. IRGC is getting slammed hard. The Straits of Hormuz won't ever be truly risk-free, but they will be available. We've seen 41 ships, by my last count, go through in the last 24 hours. And so things are looking good, but the Iranian people will never have a better chance to reclaim their freedom. We're not going to do that for them, but we'll certainly provide American air power, which is really quite something.
I mean, the Iranian people have to revolt. I mean, give them what they need, give them the munitions they need, give them the guns they need, and, let them take back their country. I mean, it's not our job for them to take back their country. It's their job.
It is absolutely their job, and we saw what happened in Iraq and Afghanistan when we put 130,000 of ours, and we try to get them out of the 9th century and get them into the 10th century. And here's the big thing is the Iranian people mostly taking back their own country by themselves and establishing their own governance. Well, then they'll appreciate that more. When your blood is the one that's spilling, then you appreciate it more. And but they will need some air power help. We're gonna help them with that. And you know what? They're going to become a great friend to the United States. That's my prediction.
Well, Japan is our best friend, and you look what happened in World War II.
Exactly.
Germany is supposed to be our best friend. Look what happened in World War II. Italy, they didn't know what side they were on.
I will tell you, the Germans, the Italians, and the Japanese, and I'm talking about peoples, not governments, they love us. They just do. And the French, they adore us. But you have to separate these globalist governments, these neo-Marxists in many cases.
The so-called intellectuals, they think they're smarter than us.
Yes, the elites, let's call them that, the elites. Self-licking ice cream cones is my favorite term. And but it's the people, they love us. Every Memorial Day speech I ever made in Europe, French, Belgian, Italians, they would always come up to me and say, we just can't thank you enough. We just can't tell you what the United States means to us.
Beautiful. Blaine, on Iran, I'm curious your thoughts. One of the things we've talked a lot about here on the show, John and I, we've talked about going after the IRGC. I saw one of the targets in the last 24 hours, you'll be happy to hear, John, was the Army barracks of the IRGC. And then I heard Trump say, we're going to treat the IRGC like ISIS. And there weren't that many ISIS folks left by the time he made that statement because he obliterated them all. So what do you think he's going to really do to really hone down? He's clearly honing down on the IRGC, the Iranian Revolutionary Guard Corps, which are the diehard lunatics, but the military kind of monsters, if you will.
Yeah, this is your Armageddon psychopath division. They're not Kool-Aid drinkers. They're Kool-Aid mixers. And the only way for them to leave is via martyrdom. And so the president is going to make good on that. The IRGC headquarters 2 nights ago went up in flames. It's a very visible thing. It was a skyscraper in Tehran.
What a shame.
The Army barracks, the Army barracks that you talked about. Now, here's my caveat. We just got to see something, say something mode here. They did threaten our infrastructure here. That could be a credible threat because they do have cells here from the 4 years of open borders. Now, I will say that Department of Homeland Security, our National Guards, first responders, they are all sharing intelligence about all those things. But we need to harden up here and understand there may be a period of some required resilience as we get this deal closed out.
Yeah, I think it's going to be bumpy, sadly, for the next few weeks when you're dealing with evil, fighting evil. Vito.
So speaking of evil, any government that has to slaughter tens of thousands of its own people when they speak to rise up against the oppression and put that on the same moral plane as, say, the state of Israel, you're looking at insanity when you start looking through that prism. And that's sort of what the other side is trying to do and frame it. As mentioned earlier, there are those who are actually rooting for Iran to win, which is, I can't remember a day in time where that was allowed or appropriate or being pro-American. So what do you think is really happening from a new day perspective to take the fight to the leaders of Iran once and for all? Again, the people themselves in whatever country you visit, Italy, Germany, they love the country, you get along fine. But what do we need to do, in your opinion, to take out the leadership once and for all?
Well, I think we're on the right track. What we're doing is, this is what the president doesn't want to do, and this is why it gets so frustrating for Americans, is if we wanted to amp it up like we did in shock and awe in Iraq and have 2,000 combat sorties per night and a steady diet of cruise missiles all day, every day, we could do that. But what the president doesn't want to do is hijack a revolution. And it just takes more patience and time. But the civilian leaders are at the throats of the IRGC, who's at the throats of the regular army called the Artesh, and whatever's left of the Ayatollahs, Mojtaba and the three boys. They're in tatters trying to wage this propaganda worldwide that they're still very much a viable leadership, and they're not, and everybody knows it. And so patience, let's remember this thing only started in February. And oil futures, Scott Bessent and the president have done a masterful job on managing that. And so they had 47 years to wage this evil. It just takes a little time, but evil's coming off the table. And then what we need to do, in my view, and this is only my opinion, we need to go investigate the foreign intelligence services that put the Ayatollah in power in the first place.
That's an interesting thing. Before we let you go, you brought up about sleeper cells here. How concerned should we be? I mean, obviously, in a wide open border, anybody could have gotten through under Biden, but how concerned should we be now?
So there's some things working against the sleeper cells that are viable. You have to wonder how many of them are true believers. If they see that the IRGC is in the ninth inning and that no money is coming from home and there's really no country for them once they do something, are they really believers, or are they going to try to write it out here in the United States, or are they going to try to become informants and say, I know about this, I know about that? So it's never a clean setup for sleeper cells to be all the more effective. But then here's the caveat. It only takes one. It only takes one. And our first responders have to be perfect every single time. And so as Americans, we need to come together. We need to share information. We need to be resilient at home, and we just can't be naive to the realities of the threat picture we see this summer.
Well, Blaine, you're the General Holt. You're the only guy I know. You're the only person I know in Idaho. I don't know anybody else in Idaho. What is the population of Idaho?
I think we're about 2 million, 3 million strong up in northern Idaho.
At least downtown Manhattan.
Yeah. We've got plenty of room, but we need some diversity, and so we've got a lot of California that's come here to stay. Maybe some folks from New York would be good.
Yeah, I bet there are New Yorkers. If you look at the traffic today, I think I might join you.
We have plenty. But hey, I'm breathing fire smoke just like you guys do,
oh my
because
God.
Washington is on fire.
Oh, I know.
Thank you so much for coming on. Thank you for what you do, and we'll talk to you again real soon.
God bless all.